Do you remember the last time that no one, absolutely no one on this earth, knew exactly where you were? For a child of the 70s, that was the default state 6 days a week. We weren't lost, we were simply there. People often look at us as dinosaurs or as nostalgics clinging to a better back then mentality. We smirk when we talk about drinking from the garden hose or riding in the back of a car without seatbelts. But what people don't understand is that this isn't about memories, it's about structure. If you grew up in the 70s, your brain doesn't function like your children's. And that's normal. You were raised in a world where a parent's presence was an option, not a constant surveillance. We were ghosts. We left in the morning and came back when the streetlights came on. That void, that total absence of control is exactly what built your backbone. Today, we analyze our behavior with clinical psychology terms. But back then, it was just life. We are the last generation to have had a private life before we even had an adult life. This isn't a complaint. It's an autopsy of a mental strength that the modern world is desperately trying to buy back through survival courses and meditation retreats. Look at how we fix things today. We don't. We throw it away. We buy and we replace. We grew up in mechanics with objects that had weight, a smell, and a logic. If your bike chain slipped 3 miles from home, there was no phone to call for help. You had to get your hands dirty, figure out how the chain fit back on, and maybe use a rock to bang a bent derailleur back into place. That intelligence of the hands creates a form of confidence that nothing else can replace. You know deep down that every problem has a physical solution. That's why you don't panic when a system crashes. You look for the gears. You have that resourcefulness hardwired into your reflexes. Do you realize the power of your spatial memory? Today, people don't look at the road anymore. They look at a blue dot on a screen. We had to read the landscape. We navigated by the smell of the bakery, the shape of a low wall, the color of a front door. We built maps inside our heads. This ability to locate yourself without help is more than just a sense of direction. It's a form of grounding. You inhabit the world. You don't just pass through it. Your hippocampus is a muscle you trained every single day for 10 years. That's why, even in an unknown city, you never truly feel lost. There is one thing social media has destroyed that you still possess: the ability to read others. In the 70s, conflicts were settled on the pavement. There were no moderators. You had to learn to decode a tone of voice, a posture, a shifting gaze. You learned diplomacy out of necessity. You knew when to back down, when to stand your ground, and when to negotiate. Today, you walk into a room and you feel the atmosphere. You pick up on tensions before the first word is even spoken. It's not magic, it's street training. You learn to read humans in their raw version, without filters and without emojis to explain their intent. The greatest gift we were given, albeit unintentionally, was boredom. Those Sunday afternoons where time stood still, with family or friends. We didn't have notifications to distract us from ourselves. We had to make peace with our own thoughts. That is where you forged your inner fortress. You aren't abnormal if you appreciate silence. You aren't antisocial if you don't need constant validation. You are simply complete. The world changes, technologies fly by, but your wiring remains. You are the guardians of a certain form of autonomy. Don't let anyone tell you that you're outdated. You are the last ones who know how to navigate when the screens go dark. And believe me, on that day, everyone will turn to you. Have you noticed how on edge everyone seems today? If a web page takes 3 seconds to load, people lose their minds. But we have something different. We learned how to wait. In the 70s, nothing was instant. You waited a week for photos to develop, only to find they were blurry. You waited for a friend to be home next to a landline. This forced wait built our brains. We learned that things of value take time, which is why we can go the distance when others quit. Psychologists love to talk about our internal locus of control. It's the conviction that what happens to us depends on our actions, not fate. We have it because no one solved our problems for us. If we got lost, we found the way back. We didn't blame the weather, we owned it. That autonomy is our shield. Back then, there was a clear line between the world of children and the world of adults. We didn't sit at the grown-ups table to give our opinion on everything. We stayed in our corner, and above all, we observed. We listened. It taught us situational awareness, how to read a room and understand authority without it being an insult. We didn't expect the world to stop for us. It gave us a massive edge. We know how to earn respect and stay humble because we learned we had to prove our worth before opening our mouths. We often forget an incredible freedom we had, the right to screw up in private. When you tried a stupid jump on your bike and ended up in a ditch, there was no smartphone to film it and show the whole world. Your shame stayed between you and the ground. It allowed us to test our limits without the fear of permanent judgment. Our confidence was built on real progress, not likes. That's why we handle criticism better today. Our value isn't an image on a screen. It's what we know we can overcome when no one is watching. Today's world is obsessed with zero risk. Everything is rated, booked, and tracked. We lived in organized chaos. We left in the morning without knowing the weather or if our friends would even be there. We whistled under a window, and if no one answered, we improvised. This made us flexible. We don't have a breakdown when the GPS fails. We know how to navigate by sight, even with a paper map if we have to. We know that if plan A fails, there's a whole alphabet left to work with. So, what do we take away from all this? Was it better before? No, the world moves on. But you aren't just survivors of a bygone era. You are the holders of a psychological survival kit that is no longer manufactured. Your ability to wait without exploding, your knack for solving a problem with 3 bits of string, and that calm you keep when the Wi-Fi dies, those are your superpowers. Never apologize for your silence, your independence, or your way of seeing things. You aren't out of touch. You are anchored. Carry this baggage with pride. Because in a world that is losing its way, you are the ones holding the compass. And above all, remember this: you aren't abnormal. You are simply the last ones to hold the keys to a world that didn't need batteries to exist. I'll see you in the comments. Tell me, if you had to pass on just one lesson from your wild childhood to today's generation, what would it be? If this journey through our memories did you some good, stay with us. Subscribe not just for a number, but to keep this mindset alive. And for more, check out The Invisible Child, a Psychological Perspective. I'll see you there. Stay free.